Here's what's coming up on the Fitz Take Podcast. Who's advancing in the college football playoff? We're breaking down the quarterfinal matchups. Plus, Diego Pavia is granted another year of eligibility, but what does it signal for other JUCO players? DeSean Jackson takes over the reins at HBCU member Delaware State, and the big question, should the NFL own Christmas Day? All that and more starts now. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the final episode of the Fitz Take Podcast in the year 2024. It's not the last one, I promise you that. I am your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. He is your guy, Elijah Nixon, a.k.a. E-Money, a.k.a. the Pride of Connecticut, a.k.a. Mr. Coming from South Carolina this past weekend as we just enjoyed the Christmas holidays. And if you're watching this episode, we want to go ahead and say a Happy New Year to you from here at the Fitz Take Podcast. We greatly appreciate y'all for all of the support that you have given us in the year 2024 and 2025. We're going to come alive even more so. Y'all do us a favor, hit the subscribe button down below, but also follow us wherever you get your podcast from. All listening platforms now. We are officially on Apple after a long and waited grinding battle back and forth with Apple. We are now there with Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, follow us there as well. We're also doing a $50 gift card giveaway. We're giving away two $50 gift cards. All you need to do is subscribe to the Fitz Take Podcast YouTube channel and then show us proof of your subscription, and you will enter for a chance to win one of those gift cards. So far, we've only had 4 people to do exactly the way that I told y'all to do it. It don't matter if you, maybe 5, because I think Miss Tracy Colbert did it. I got to go back and look. It might be like 4 or 5 people. Just because you're a subscriber, you got to let me know so I can make sure, because if not, then I have to go back into YouTube and see who's subscribed, and not everybody's comes up because some people have their page as private. So you got to let us know. If you want the gift card, you got to let us know. So we would greatly appreciate that. Also follow myself and Elijah on our social media platforms and my production company, One Way Productions. All of that will be linked down in the description of this video. With all that being said, Elijah, how was your week, man? I know you were with your people there in South Carolina, man. How was it?
Oh, it was pretty good, man. Celebrating Kara's birthday. We had a good time. We had an ugly sweater contest, which I did cheat. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're supposed to have, you're supposed to have one vote who had the ugliest sweater. I took about 10 slips and wrote Kara's name down probably about 10 times and had everybody else, some of the people that was with me, do it as well so she could win. So I think she deserved to give me that trophy. But she let me keep the Walmart gift card, so I guess it was something that come out of that.
Crazy. That boy fixing the race. He fixing the race. They're going to ask for a recount.
I got to do what I got to do. I admitted to it the next day. So, but it didn't matter, though. It didn't matter. We just needed to win something.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah, we were chilling here at the house all week. Feels good to get some time off. As you know, we always running around and stuff, man. So just to be able to sit back and relax, kick your feet up for a little while, that's always good. So, yeah, man. Now that the holidays are, getting close to the end, as we're about to go into a new year, we're keeping some of the same flair that we've always had. So with that, we're going to start the show with take number 1. It is our first play, and we're talking about the college football playoff, which is now going into the quarterfinal round and begins on New Year's Eve. We've got 4 matchups. After seeing a very lackluster first round, we now have the quarterfinal round. The first is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl between number 5 Texas and number 4 Arizona State. That game will be at noon. Texas is currently a 12.5-point favorite. And then on New Year's Eve night, we have in the Verbal Fiesta Bowl, Penn State and Boise State going at it, 6:30 p.m. Penn State is an 11.5-point favorite. And then on New Year's Day, the 4 o'clock kick is the first one where we will see Ohio State and Oregon in a rematch in the Rose Bowl. That at 4 p.m. Ohio State is a 2.5-point favorite. And then in the nightcap, the All-State Sugar Bowl, where we will be in the house watching that game, Notre Dame and Georgia going at it, where UGA is only a 1.5-point favorite. That game kicking off at 7:45. So with all of those games, lined up for you, Elijah. We see two games that could potentially be some blowouts. Which one do you think will be the best matchup? And ultimately, what team do you think will get the biggest upset out of all of it?
Um, it's a good question, man, because I don't think Notre Dame win, but I think it'll be closer than what people may think. I still think it'll be a double-digit game, a 10-point game, but I think it'll be like a late 10-point game, not like a blow up through the whole thing. But I think Georgia wins by 10. So I think the only team I feel like that could really upset somebody is Ohio State. I think Ohio State is the only team I think could pull off an upset against Oregon because they had them on the ropes the first time they played. It was a shootout. I think Ohio State and Oregon is the Spider-Man meme, pointing at each other, how they do things offensively and defensively. And when it comes to pure talent, I think they both have the same things. When it comes to running backs, a couple of DBs and safeties. The only thing that is a mismatch is the quarterback position for Ohio State. But when it comes to receivers and stuff, you can do the same. So I think Ohio State, if they play their cards right, the way they played against Tennessee, um, I think they're the only team that could pull off an upset. No offense to Boise State. I hope Ashton runs for 300 yards and that 60-10 loss that they're probably about to take to Penn State. But I just think that I don't see that upsetting anyone. I just think that it's not going to be close there. Um, Arizona, I don't see them. Arizona State, I should say. I don't think they're going to beat Texas. So again, I just think Oregon and Ohio State will be the best matchup of the two, and I can't wait to see what Oregon does to see if they can. It's hard to beat the same team twice. I want to see how they go out there and do it. Do they use more of the same game plan they had the first time? Do they pull out wrinkles with trick plays since they had a week off and stuff like that? And for Ohio State, how do you stay motivated? I mean, because when they're not motivated, they lose to a team that they should have probably beat, like Michigan. And then when they are motivated, you see them beat the bricks off of not the top, but one of the top teams in the SEC, in Tennessee, who made the playoff. They beat the bricks off of them. So it's like what Ohio State team we're going to get, and I think that's what determines what would be the upset.
Absolutely. I'm going to agree with you on the Ohio State and Oregon matchup being the best one out of the four that we're going to see. And I also agree with the fact that Ohio State is one of the better teams to have an opportunity to get an upset. Because if you go back and look at the last time that they played when it was a 1-2 or a 2-3 matchup, both teams came in, they were undefeated. And Oregon took a lead 32-31, which ultimately would be the final. They took that lead after a 13 or 11 play drive, and they drove it all the way down the field and left about a minute 40 on the clock. Ohio State had the ball and an opportunity to go down and score it to win the game. They had a 15-yard penalty, a pass interference call on Jeremiah Smith that derailed that drive, and they ultimately ran out of time to have a shot at winning the game. So that's their motivation. You talked about how will they be motivated? Ryan Day's going to walk in their room and say, hey, guys, we played sloppy and we did that and still had a chance to win the game. If we come out and play our best brand of football, we're going to beat the number one team in the country, and then we might have a clear path to a national championship game. For Ryan Day also, it's an opportunity for him to silence a lot of the doubters that have been talking about him. You've had people out there to say that he should be let go if they don't get to the national championship game because of the fact that he hasn't beaten Michigan in all 4 years, which I understand. At Ohio State, that's a game that you're supposed to win. You take those jobs to compete for national championships and to beat Michigan. I understand that. But right now, Ohio State is playing and Michigan is at the crib with Bryce Underwood. Like, that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the fact that this team has an opportunity to compete and play for a national championship right now, that shows you that Ryan Day is doing his job at a very high level, because otherwise they would also be at the house with Michigan. But they're not. They're getting a chance to play against the number one team in the country, a Heisman finalist, and a guy that has played extremely well this year in Dylan Gabriel. Will Howard has played really well for the team this season. And that run game between Quinshawn Judkins and Trey Henderson have been a good tandem for Ohio State. So that's going to be fun to watch, to see how those guys are able to come out on top, if they are able to come out on top in that game. It'll be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that one, and to the games where they're projected blowouts, whether it's Boise State and Pitt State, Texas and Arizona State. Um, I'm hoping that those guys put up a better fight in those games, but I don't know, man. It might get ugly early. I'm hoping that it doesn't, because I want to see some good games. And you know me, bro. I love seeing an upset and all that stuff like that. But in this case, Texas might be seated lower, Penn State might be seated lower, but they are not the underdogs in this game at all. So I would love to see Boise State win. I would love to see Arizona State win. But I don't know if that will happen. And I also would like to see Notre Dame win, but I don't know if that will happen. Like I said, UGA is only favored by 1.5, mainly because Carson Beck is out for that game, so they're going to be starting a freshman. But that's still Georgia. That's still Kirby Smart coaching across the field from Marcus Freeman. So we shall see. We'll have our eyes set on the college football playoff starting on New Year's Eve. And then once that is over, we have our semifinal games that will be on January 9th and 10th, with the national championship game being on January the 20th. So we shall see, man. We shall see. Hopefully we get some good games. Well, hopefully all 4 games are good, and it's not just 1 or 2 of them. So let's go ahead and make some forward progress with take number 2. And we are going to be talking about Elijah's favorite person in the entire world. He knows who it is. It's Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia. As the NCAA board voted to appeal Diego Pavia's court ruling, but they also grant a waiver for junior college players in a similar position as Pavia, paving the way for an extension of the careers of hundreds of former junior college players. The NCAA filed notice of appeal in the court ruling in Pavia's case. The Division I Board of Directors granted a waiver to permit student athletes who attended and competed at a non-NCAA school for 1 or more years to remain eligible and compete in 25-26 if those student athletes would have otherwise used their final season of competition during 24-25 and meet all of the eligibility requirements. Essentially, what is happening in this case is that if you were in JUCO, within the past couple of years, you'll have another year of eligibility. And if this continues to go on, we will see that junior college is basically going to be 2 more years of high school football. And then you'll be able to start college at the age of 20 to 21 with the rest of everyone else. So, Elijah, with all that being said, I know that you had your famous line, 24, get them out the door. But it's looked like it's going to be a little bit more than now, because we know there are guys that have gone the JUCO route. We know guys get opportunities at the Division I level. So what do you think about this ruling with the NCAA?
I don't like it. I just don't like it. I feel like junior college is still college into an aspect. Your credits still transfer over. I'm not saying that you can't do that in high school if you have that early transition where you can do that. But again, at the same time, these are 18-year-old kids that's doing that from high school, not junior college when you're 20, sometimes 19, 20 years old, and you're being a freshman. Like, come on, man. Like, it's like, when you're at recess and like you're the upperclassman at recess. I don't want to say that about Pavia because it sounds like I'm hating. I hope Pavia wins the Heisman. I hope he does. I really do. I hope so. I hope this year he accomplished everything he wants to accomplish. A playoff berth, a Heisman candidate, Davy O'Brien Award, everything. Because I hope you get everything off your chest. You get it off your chest. Because I don't agree with this at all, bro. I really don't. But I hope that you get everything you want. Because this is garbage. Like you already competed, and then you competed some more. You're about 24 years old. I mean, you don't. To me, just get to the NFL level and prove it there. These kids are coming out at 18. You're essentially 6 years older than these kids. And I feel like when you get to the pros, you're actually up there with the veterans. Like you're taking years off of yourself when you get to the pros to actually learn the professional game. So I'm happy that I'm not happy with the ruling, but I'm happy you get another chance. I'm happy that you get another chance to prove who you are in college. But I just feel like the NCAA should just put a stoppage at this If you do 2 years, you come in as a junior, and what so be it. Because when you go to junior college, 9 times out of 10, your grades aren't the best. They give you another opportunity to prove that you can be in college and be there and do what you got to do. Or you're coming from a military background. 9 times out of 10. Other than that, bro, I'm not a fan of it. Cam Newton came from junior college. He only did 1 year. Look at that. He did 1 year, won the Heisman, and said, "I'm good. I'm going to the pros." I mean, it's not like you can't do it. And he sat behind Tim Tebow. Think about that for a second. Think about that. He only had 1 year to prove what he could do. That's what, and I don't understand what Pavia is trying to do because that man only had 1 year. You got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. 10 to do something that don't really. If you're that guy, you will get it that year or two. But I mean, it is what it is, man. I hope he accomplished what he wants to accomplish, so he can move on and now get into a career. Because again, being 24 in college, that's too old. That's a little bit too old for me.
Yeah, and he already has a degree. He's a graduate. By the time he plays next season, he will be 24 years old. Yeah, man, this is really going to further ruin high school recruiting for a lot of kids because now the main thing that a lot of coaches are looking at when it comes to recruiting is that they want experience. We were talking about it offline about how important experience can be. Sometimes that experienced players cover up bad coaches, right? So some of them bad coaches are going to get more experienced players rather than building up the ranks in high school. Unfortunately for the high school kid, what you'll see a lot more of is that they'll say, I'm going to just go to junior college or I'm going to just go, the G5 route and try to make a name for myself and then move up. But not every kid is going to be able to do that. Not every kid is going to be able to be like Harvey Broussard that goes to UL and then transfers up to Houston, or Terrence Carter that goes to UL and then transfers up to Texas Tech. And there's so many other guys that have done that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the name of the game now is getting players in that can contribute right away, that knows what it takes to be a college professional. Because at this point, man, like between NIL and between the maturity level that you need guys to be, this is the amateurism of college football is kind of gone. It's kind of not there anymore. And if you're a high school senior and you're struggling to get offers right now, this is very discouraging for you because now it's saying, if I want to go D1, I have to go to the JUCO route. I have to go to a small school. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody is able to do that because then in junior college, in a lot of places, they don't have the same resources. You don't have the abilities, or you don't have the same number of eyeballs, or the coaches don't have the same type of connections that are able to get you to those Power Fives, those big name schools where you can transfer out and have like a John Brown, or what's his name, Coach Brown, JB Brown, that was off Last Chance U, or EMCC. Like, not every coach is like that in JUCO, where they have those connections that can put you at big time D1 schools that give you an opportunity to play right away. I'm kind of like you, man. I don't know what Diego is trying to get accomplished, but I hope that he gets everything that he can out of it. He can milk the system as much as he can, because now he will play for 3 schools. He was at New Mexico Military, where that was the JUCO. He was there for 2 years, New Mexico State for 2 years, and now he is going to leave Vanderbilt with at least 2 years playing there. And technically, if 2020, if we're counting the COVID year, that year technically don't count. The NCAA says, but the JUCOs are non-NCAA schools, so I don't know how that works. I don't know. So who knows? The brother might get another year of eligibility, man. He might play to 25. He might, and maybe it's because he's thinking, I'm never going to the NFL, so I'm gonna just get as much out of college as I can. I guess, man. I guess. But this is kind of heartbreaking for a lot of high school seniors, man, because it's already been hard enough for them to get on college campuses with the transfer portal. Because now Bro, if you need a quarterback, I'm not finna go and recruit no 5-star that could potentially flip and go to another school that he's never visited, a la Bryce Underwood. No knock to him. But Brian Kelly would much rather go in the portal and get the kid from Mississippi State. That was easier, and he probably was cheaper. That's the name of the game now. I need a quarterback. Oh, let me go see who in the portal. Let me go talk to his agent. And you think he might want to hit the portal? We got about 1.5 over him for him. We know he only making $750 over there. Let's do it. Get the papers ready. Tell him hit the portal. He got a spot over here. Oh, I need a starting middle linebacker. Let me go over here to Boise State, where the conference leading tackler is, and let me go get him. Let me offer him $250,000, and he gonna come because he's not making no money there. It's tough, man. But this ruling could be opening up Pandora's box for a lot of things and across all sports. This is not just talking about football. It happened within the football realm, but this could happen all across the board. You're going to start seeing some old college players. Guys are going to be coming in 21, 20 years old already as a freshman, playing today 24, 25, 26. This could start getting really, really, really ugly and holding up some roster spots from some high school kids that could truly be deserving of an opportunity, but they probably won't get it because the name of the game is to not fully recruit your full roster out of high school. And if you're a high school kid, if you're a 4 or 5-star, you might go to a big school. I think about a Walker Howard. I think about a Sheldon Sampson, 2 guys that are now transferred to UL. Sheldon Sampson commits to LSU, don't catch a pass in his first 2 years there. Walker Howard goes to LSU, sees he is not going to get an opportunity to compete for the starting job, transfer to Ole Miss. Same thing happens. Now he's got to come to UL. And these dudes 4 and 5 stars out of high school. So what do you think could happen to a 0-star guy or a 1 or 2-star? Bro, they're not going to get the opportunities that they would like. And it's unfortunate. It truly is. We will continue to keep our eye on this situation as it continues to develop, and we'll continue to talk about it and see how things change across the college football landscape. Now we are going to get on the plane and fly on out for take number 3 and talking about a former Eagle, someone who is used to flying, DeSean Jackson. We actually saw a former Eagle and Mike Vick do the same thing that this former Eagle has done, which is become the head coach of an HBCU. Former NFL wide receiver DeSean Jackson is finalizing an agreement with Delaware State to become its next head coach. Pete Thamel was the one to report it. Jackson retired from the NFL in 2023. He did an on-campus interview in recent days, and the sides are expected to come together in the near future. While Jackson lacks coaching experience, he isn't a complete stranger to coaching. He was the offensive coordinator at Woodrow Wilson High School in Long Beach, California this fall. I did not know that. Of course, Jackson has a surplus of experience on the football field outside of coaching. He spent 15 seasons in the NFL, 641 receptions, 11,000 yards, 58 touchdowns. Yeah, so we're kind of seeing a heavy trend of former NFL stars becoming head coaches, specifically going to the HBCU ranks. Do you like this move, Elijah? Does it make any sense to you? And is this another case of kind of what we talked about last week, where some guys are getting these opportunities because of who they are, and maybe some guys that have a few more coaching credentials are getting overlooked?
I like the move. Again, I just don't know, DeSean Jackson's coaching ability, how he handled kids, and I don't know how he handled kids, but I do like that. These guys who had off the field issues get a chance to become head coaches and try to teach these young men how to, maneuver through the league. I'm not sure, how well they'll be able to teach the game. That's going to come with time to see, when they have to put on their headset and coach against other people. But right now, I just like the fact that these 2 guys had off the field issues and they were paid lots and lots of money, and they're really relatable to the community. So I think that it's a good move, and I'm happy to see stuff like that because the bit on Deion. With what I really admire about Deion, of course, of course, he wants to win. Football is like number one for him, and you see that with his sons and how he did with Colorado and Jackson State. One thing about DeSean after he lost to BYU, he said that basically learn this as as a life lesson that you don't point the finger at nobody else. You start within. I like that, because it's more than just between the white lines. That is a life lesson. You want to start from within before, or and never point the finger. You want to start from within of what you can do better, how you attack the next time you see a challenge like this. So with DeSean Jackson, with Michael Vick, Eddie George, and the list goes on. I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for everyone to those guys to be getting a head coaching opportunity and to see where it goes, man. Because it's just opening Pandora box for excuse me, and Pandora's box for a lot of guys that may be retiring from the league soon um, to open up and grab some other stuff because we see that in the professional world. Like JJ Redick, who never had a coaching opportunity ever, and he's at the highest in one of the top organizations ever in the highest league in the NBA. Where we're looking at DeSean Jackson and Michael Vick, who's going to HBCUs, who we don't really look upon as one of the top schools in the nations and things like that. So um, I'm just happy that they get their fair chance. I'm happy that they get to be a leader of men, and if this is a bridge for them to move higher and coach at a D1 a big time D1 program, and let a bridge open for people that's just retiring and didn't want to do media and coach. I hope that's open the bridge for those guys, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, man. Closely similar to what I said last week. I hope D-Jack takes this opportunity to put guys on that may have been waiting in the wings and say, come be my offensive coordinator, come be my defensive coordinator, sit under me, and then whenever I move on, you can either be the next head coach or you can come along with me and get a big time Division I job. As much as people want to point to Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, as being kind of the trendsetter in all of this, and I got love and respect for Coach Prime as I preface for what I'm about to say. He's not really one of the first big time or big really names out of the NFL that did this. The first guy that I remember that was a former NFL player that became a coach, especially in the HBCU ranks, is Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Doug Williams was at Grambling State University, his alma mater. Doug Williams was a first round draft pick, 17 overall. Doug Williams won that Super Bowl and then went down the ranks. He was a head coach at Point Capiz Central. He was a head coach at Northeast. He went to Navy and became the running backs coach. He was the offensive coordinator at the Scottish Claymores. He was the head coach at Morehouse. And then he became the head coach at Grambling State. He was there at Grambling from 98 to 2003, left, came back in 2011 and 2013. In his time, he was a two-time Black College National Champion in 2000 and 2001, back-to-back. Four-time SWAC champion and a three-time SWAC Coach of the Year. So obviously times were different and we didn't have the social media and we didn't have guys, marketing the game as the way that it is now with social media. But Doug Williams deserves his flowers because he was doing this before anybody else was. Deion, I think, kind of just picked, and I think he would be one of the first to say that he is not the first. I think that he is just somebody that is a major marketer that understands how to promote things and knows how to get people talking about them and keep them in the spotlight. And as a result, he knows how to do the same thing for the schools that he's a part of. Like, bro, I was really thinking about it like last night in prime time, Colorado and BYU was on TV. If this would have been 4 or 5 years ago, that stuff might have been on like Tubi. Like nobody was watching it. But because of Deion being there, the way that he knows how to bring presence to the teams that he's a part of, he is able to get his teams in the limelight. Again, with guys like Michael Vick, with guys like DeSean Jackson, and whoever else decides to come along and become a head coach as well as they have. I hope that these guys will bring the light and find a way to keep it there. Find a way to keep it there, because now that DeSean Jackson is there, you're going to see Delaware State sneak up on ESPN2 at least once. Maybe even the Big E. They're going to sneak up on there. Somebody is going to find a way to get a TV camera there. And I hope that he has his podcast that he does with LaShawn McCoy, also a former Eagle. I hope that they find ways to put some of those guys that are going to be there on campus, some of those players, get them in the limelight. I think about how Deion, bro, he had documentaries, even though it had his name on it saying Coach Prime, he had documentaries talking about some of these players at Jackson State. He had a documentary, Coach Prime again, when he was at Colorado. We were able to see and hear about these storylines of these players that a lot of times we would have not been paying attention to if he wasn't there. This is their opportunity to do something closely similar. I'm glad that it's at a historically black college and university, because I am a black man. And I always say, you can sue me if you want to. I'm rooting for everybody black. So congratulations to DeSean Jackson. And we hope that he has a lot of success while he is there at Delaware State as their new head coach. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close out the show, the final show of 2024, with our final Fitz Take of the year, which is talking about the NFL and the games that are played on Christmas Day. Me and Elijah were talking about this offline, and he had mentioned how he really didn't think that NFL games should be played on Christmas Day. And I just want to read the numbers off to him of the viewership, because I need to get his live reaction in real time. If I could get it pulled up again. I had it bookmark on Twitter, the full numbers of all of it. So, the NBA and the NFL viewership numbers for Christmas games. Chiefs and Steelers, 24.1 million. Ravens, Texans, 24.3 million. Okay. NBA, Knicks and Spurs, 4.9 million. Celtics, 76ers, 5.1 million. Timberwolves, Mavs, 4.3 million. Lakers, Warriors, the highest rated one, 7.7 million. Nuggets, Suns in the nightcap, 3.8 million. So, Elijah, we pose the question: should NFL games be played on Christmas Day?
As my initial reaction, I said no. Only for the simple fact that basketball doesn't do Thanksgiving, you know. So I thought that'd be a basketball holiday, but then listening to that, hey. But you know what? How I personally feel though with that though, honestly, at this time where NFL is more on the line. Teams are trying to clinch. Teams are trying to win divisions. Teams are trying to establish some rapport as they enter the playoffs. So people are going to watch their favorite teams in those moments because it's the tail end of the season. Um, sorry, that's my drag. You heard that, but they're at the tail end of the season and they're trying to trying to make sure that things go right. So I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm saying that in the sense of for basketball purposes, they have to understand people are going to turn into those because so I personally feel is that. But I think if it was the other way around and playoff implications for basketball, I think maybe we'll see not a shift in numbers, but maybe some numbers that could equally match with one another. But to answer the question in totality, I mean, I didn't think so, but a lot of people are tuning in to watch these games. So I guess it fits and it works. It's just gonna be tough because you can't get every channel, flip back and forth. You can't do it no matter what. So somebody's gonna have to be like, no, we can't do this no more. And it's looking like Roger Goodell's winning, and Adam Silver's gonna say, hey, we got to have to do days after Christmas. And I feel bad because basketball that's it usually was, but like I said, right now with the playoff implications and things that's on the line, people are going to tune into that stuff. So football did well marketing, putting the best player in Patrick Mahomes out there, and seeing what they could do. So
Listen, man, the NFL football is always going to win. Like there are big numbers in basketball and all those things like that, but football always wins. And I think it's simply for the fact that you play less NFL games than you do NBA games. You have 82 opportunities to see your favorite basketball team. Bro, you only got 17 opportunities to see your favorite NFL team. And if they're bad, you might not be able to see them because they might get pulled off of TV unless you have NFL Sunday ticket. You have to physically pay to see your favorite team. So you're banking on your team being good for them to get in the limelight so you can watch them. So the fact that they were put on a streaming platform, and mind you, these were on paper two really good games. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens. And not to mention, slap dab in the middle of the Houston Texans and Baltimore Ravens game, you put the biggest pop star in the world as the halftime performance. She drew bigger numbers than the actual game. They paid Beyonce reportedly upward of $20 million, and she drew in, I think it was like 27 or 28 million people. So 4 or 5 million more people pulled Netflix up for the Beyonce concert and then turned it off. Come on, man. Like the NBA is not fighting as much for viewership, but why do you think they started the play-in tournament? Because they're trying to find ways for people to watch basketball before Christmas. That's why they had it. So now it makes it seem like, man, this is a really important game. You don't want to miss it. This is must-see basketball. You got to tune in. But Roger Goodell, as a businessman, was so smart. He said, let's cut a deal like this. We're going to put it on a streaming platform where you can't even switch and change the channel. For you to watch it, you got to pull up another screen. You got to have a TV in your kitchen. You got to have your phone up. You got to have your laptop running to watch that NBA game. You can't do it like YouTube TV, give you your quad box where you could be looking at it up top and then having the NFL on the bottom. Can't do that. If you on Netflix, you got to be in the Netflix app, and that's it. An average person, yeah, they might have it on, but they not like it counts still for it being on, but they not really looking at it. They probably are going to be paying attention more to that NFL game. Like all of those numbers for the two NFL games were 3 times the amount of the NBA games, and the largest being the Warriors and the Lakers. And I watched that game, but it was the last 5 minutes of it after I turned off the NFL game because Beyonce had performed and the Texans was getting mollywopped. So I said, let me go and switch over and see what LeBron and them talking about. I watched the last 5 minutes. Great game towards the end of it. But in full retrospect of all of it, people are locked in more on the NFL on any given day than the NBA. The NBA, like, bro, you need to bring back a lot of aspects to, like, you remember back when the NBA used to have Christmas Day jerseys and stuff like that, like things that made people want to watch it. Like, do something. Heck, y'all call Beyonce. Tell that girl to come perform at the Crypto Center. Do that. Hey, whatever you need to do to draw viewers, you got to do it. If you're talking about competing against another major league, you know, LeBron came out and said that I love the NFL, but Christmas Day is our day. Not no more. Not no more. You step aside. Step aside, King James. You can have a seat. Cause as long as Roger Goodell is able to find really good matchups and continue to get big time performers to perform at halftime, heck, next year he might have 2 halftime performances. He might do it. He might do it. Next year we might see Kendrick Lamar in one game and Young Thug in another one. I don't know. I'm just calling out 2 random names. They might do it. Whatever they gonna do to continue to prove. This is what the dude said. I'm the captain now. I'm the captain now. So we'll continue to see, man. I think next year it's only gonna get bigger. It's gonna be more glitz and glam for the NFL on Christmas Day. And the NBA is gonna have to find a way to compete with that. They're gonna have to. Otherwise, them 3-4 million gonna turn to 1-2 million. and the number's gonna go down. So, E, you got anything else, man?
No, man. I'm just excited. I'm excited about, Sugar Bowl. I'm excited about, how this last week of football is going to play out with Saquon and if he's going to break the record.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to be excited about, man. Look, it's subscribe so you can hear us talk about it too. Subscribe, like, comment, do what you must. Because at the end of the day, we love to hear from y'all as much as you like to listen to us. So I like it. I like it a lot. And that's what I really got to end it at, man.
Absolutely. Once again, guys, a happy new year to y'all, in case you are listening or watching this episode in 2025. Happy New Year. If you're also listening or watching this, subscribe to the Fitz Take Podcast on YouTube, and then let us know you are a subscriber, and you will be entered for a chance to win a $50 gift card. We're giving away 2 of them. You'll have the chance to win 1 of them. And follow me and Elijah, my production company, One Way Productions, on all of our social media platforms. They're linked down in the description. Give us a follow. We would greatly appreciate it. So with that, signing out for the last time in the year 2024, I'm Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. He's Elijah Nixon. We'll see you guys in 2025. Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Fitz Take Podcast. Be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. And remember, every episode of the Fitz Take Podcast will air right here on the YouTube channel every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.